Welcome or welcome back to Mia's Life with Books. At the start of 2025, I made a 25 books to read in 2025 reading list, and so far I have read 12 out of 25, which leaves me with 13 to read before the end of the year, which is in 3 months' time. So I might need to get a bit of a move on, so I thought it would be a good idea to spend a week reading some of these books just to try and cut it down a little bit more. And I still have a lot of exciting ones on this list that I am looking forward to. Right now, I'm not sure which 3 I'm going to read in this vlog, however, I can tell you what the first one is, since I did already start it, and that is Not Here to Be Liked by Michelle Quosh. I feel like I really butchered that name, so I am very sorry if I did. And I'm actually 100 pages into this, so I did start it yesterday, but that just means I can tell you a little bit about it already and what my thoughts are. This is a YA romance. Essentially, this book follows our main character Eliza, who is part of her school newspaper, and she really wanted to be voted the next editor-in-chief, and she was pretty sure it was going to be a shoo-in, because at first she was the only person actually running to be editor-in-chief, but then in a turn of events, another member of the school paper, Len, also runs to be editor-in-chief, and much to Eliza's dismay, he gets voted editor-in-chief over her. So naturally, she is not very pleased, but the last thing she wants to do is give up and let him win. One thing leads to another, and they end up being ordered to work together on all of their work for the school paper from then on. And that's kind of the basic plot premise. And not much else has happened right now. Don't worry, none of that was really spoilery. It's pretty much what's written on the back of the book anyway. But yeah, I've just read that initial setup phase, and it was super easy to read. The text is pretty big, so I'm not surprised that I got through that kind of quickly. So as I said, I started this yesterday, which was Sunday, so I was doing a bit of assistant event managing for a children's literature festival. But I did manage to read, like I said, 100 pages of this, so it is quite easy to read, fast-paced, as you would expect a YA romance to be. At the moment, I will say that Eliza is annoying me a bit. However, it literally says on the back, warning, this book features an unlikable female character. So I think she's supposed to be kind of unlikable. I can definitely see where she is coming from on certain aspects, but just overall I haven't really fully started to like her yet, I guess. But as a book overall so far, it's okay. I'm not disliking it. I'm intrigued by our character Len especially, and intrigued where this kind of working together thing ends up, although pretty obvious where it's going to end up, but I'm excited to see how we get there. So I suppose even though I have read 100 pages, I don't actually have that many thoughts about it so far, but I think this is going to be a quick and easy one to get through, and I do think you can't really go too wrong with a YA romance anyway, so I know I will end up enjoying it overall, even if it's not the best book I've ever read. So far I do have reasonable expectations for it, and I do think it's going to be good. Just kind of waiting to get a bit more into it, I suppose. I also haven't heard that many people talking about this one at all, and I have also had it on my shelf for many years now. Either way, when I finish this, I'll be glad to complete it, glad to take it off my 2025 reading list, and it's always satisfying to finally read a book that you've had on your TBR for so long. I am looking forward to reading some more of this. I think that's what I'm going to go and do. The next day, and I have actually already finished this. I just got back from uni and I had a 3-hour break in between my lecture and seminar today, so I just kind of sat down, got some of my seminar prep done, and then I just sat and finished this. And I also read a decent amount of it last night anyway. I have already finished it, so sorry there haven't been too many updates for this one, but I can give you my final thoughts now. I did enjoy this. It was fun. I feel like I always have a soft spot for YA romances anyway, so I feel like I do always enjoy them. This one I didn't really click with as much or necessarily connect to it. I thought parts of it were interesting. This was actually really heavy on the feminism, which I thought was very good, and I feel like for a YA book it's important to have topics like that kind of at the centre of the stories, especially for younger readers in their kind of formative years. So I did really enjoy the feminist aspect to it, and it kind of added something a little bit different to the story. Eliza's character did also grow on me a bit more, like she wasn't as annoying once I got further into it, and I did really like Len. He was very sweet. I felt like the romance between them was kind of a bit rushed, almost in the sense of there was no development. It kind of just happened out of nowhere, and I don't know whether it's just because I wasn't paying attention. I kind of feel like I missed quite a few chapters when that suddenly started happening. I didn't really see that much relationship building, if that makes sense. Friendship, I feel like I did see that kind of slowly happening. It just seemed a big jump from slowly being friends to then suddenly being interested in each other in that way. I also did enjoy the whole editor-in-chief kind of battle thing they had going on, and how that kind of linked into the whole feminist thing that was happening. I think that was interesting. In terms of the romance itself, wasn't my favourite thing. I also wasn't really a fan of the third act conflict. I just felt like I didn't care. I wasn't that bothered bothered. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And also it was a bit predictable. Another thing I did enjoy though was the friendship, specifically like the female friendship. And again, I think this probably links to the feminism part of this story, because that kind of turned out to be the main plot in the end. I think it was nice how it brought all the characters together, so I enjoyed that aspect of it. Overall, it was okay. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars in the end. It just kind of felt kind of average to me, which is a bit of a shame because it has been on my TBR for a while, and the majority of books that have been on my 25 books in 2025 list have at least been 4 stars. This is now the second book on that list that has been a 3-star, so it's still a pretty high average overall rating for that list, but it's a shame I didn't enjoy this one just a bit more. Yeah, it wasn't awful. I had a good time. It was fast paced, it was easy to read, as it usually is with YA romances. Probably not something I'm going to think about that much, and to me I just didn't really connect with it, so it didn't really feel like anything that special. I would still recommend it if you are a fan of YA romances, particularly if you are interested in feminism, as that is such a central theme, but I also feel like there are probably other books that are perhaps better that also have that as a theme. So that is our first book of the week done. I kind of have no idea what book I want to read next, but I can't start a new book until a bit later on anyway, because I'm about to cook and eat. So I might do that first and then have a bit of a think, and then I'll come back to you when I have decided what book I'm going to read next in this vlog. I think I've come to a decision, and I think I'm going to go with Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson. I've had this one on my Kindle for quite a while, and I was really excited when I heard it was coming out originally, because I have read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I read that one years ago and I really enjoyed it, and for some reason I never carried on with that series. So what I want to do is reread Truly Devious and then continue the series. But since this, I'm pretty sure, is just a standalone as far as I'm aware, I thought there's no harm in reading this one without having read the Truly Devious series. It's definitely not related in any way, and I just was very intrigued by this one. I think that's what we're going with. I honestly cannot remember anything about the synopsis of this one, so I'm going in completely blind. I will make sure to give you a little summary as well as my first thoughts once I've read 100 pages or so. But for now, I am very intrigued. I'm very excited. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I think all that's left to do is just start it. Just got back from the gym and I'm about to get ready to go to uni. I just thought I would give a little update now that I am around 120 pages in, so I finally know a bit more about what's going on and I can give you my initial thoughts. So far, from what I've gathered, we have a past present timeline kind of thing going on. In the present timeline, Marlo has had a disaster back at home. She's accidentally set fire to the house that she was house sitting for. So when an opportunity to go far away for the summer pops up, she takes it, and that opportunity is to do guided tours at an abandoned house called Morning House. So obviously they have fixed this house up. It's not strictly abandoned, but the family who owned it back in the 1920s, they left and kind of never came back after a tragic accident happened. And the accident was their youngest son drowned, and apparently their eldest daughter then unalived herself, apparently throwing herself off the roof. A bit of a morbid setup for this book, but that past timeline that I mentioned does follow that family leading up to that accident. I'm not sure whether it's all as it seems. There's a few suspicious things happening, and the family themselves are very strange. They're almost giving cult vibes, so that's very interesting. And also in the present timeline, we have Marlo meeting a friend group who are also doing the tours at this house, and there's also some drama that has gone on within that group as well, so that kind of gives a lot of mystery as well. So we have a lot of different threads happening, different ways they're all crossing over. It's all very interesting so far. I feel like there's obviously going to be more to the plot than just this, but because I haven't actually read the blurb, I can't tell you what that is yet because I haven't got to that point. So if there is more that is going on, which there probably would be, when something happens, I'll check the blurb, see if it's a spoiler or not, and then I'll say. But since I'm 120 pages in, I would be reluctant to say anything else anyway, even if it is in the blurb, because I feel like past, you know, the first third of a book, that's when we're getting into spoiler territory. So for now, you'll just have to take what I've said and just know that there are some mysterious things going on, and the setup that we have been given definitely leads me to believe there is more than what appears to the eye. lie. So with all that being said, I am enjoying it. I think Maureen Johnson has a very easy to read writing style. I think it's quite captivating. There's also kind of a witty humour to her writing as well, especially with her main character Marlo and her kind of inner monologue. So that's always fun to read. Also, I don't know whether you watched my last vlog, but my Kindle is having a bit of an issue. If you watch that video, you'll literally see an example of it happening, but the screen was basically just playing up. However, touch wood, she has been okay this week. I have now used her 4 times without anything happening. We might be out of the woods. Anyway, back to the book. I'm definitely intrigued to see where we go with this. I am really enjoying the past timeline, getting that kind of insight into the family and their strange cult-like behaviours. And I'm intrigued to see where they cross over even more and what's going to happen in the present timeline, because at the moment the present timeline's running quite smooth other than the drama with the friendship group kind of thing that's happening. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm enjoying it. I can see myself getting very invested. But yeah, so far all positive thoughts. I am just waiting for a bit more to happen. Nothing too crazy has happened yet, like I said, in the present timeline. So I'm just waiting for a bit more to happen. I'm sure when it does, I'm going to enjoy it. I will give you another update soon. I unfortunately didn't read as much as I thought I was going to read yesterday because I spent the whole day editing my last vlog and doing some other book social media bits. So I didn't get to read as much as I hoped, hence why after reading this for 2 days, I am only like 120 pages in. Although to be fair, I did start this the same day as I finished another book, so it's like 1.5 days. Hopefully I can get a good chunk of this read today. However, I do have uni for 3 hours. I do also need to start editing my September wrap-up video to post on here, so that might be wishful thinking, but I'm going to try my best because I really want to read a big chunk of this because I need to get invested in it. I'm excited to find out more. Anyway, I am going to stop waffling now. Those are my thoughts so far. Hopefully I will see you in the next clip with some more thoughts. I have got 100 pages left of Death at Morning House, so I just thought I'd do a quick little clip. So I'm midway through reading it now. I'm hoping just to sit down and to finish it. So I thought before I get any further, I'll just quickly do one last update before my final thoughts. Basically, I have no idea what's going on, but not in the bad way where it's like everything's confusing, nothing makes sense, I'm hating every second of it, but in a good way where like there are so many different things going on in terms of mystery wise, so many explanations that I could think of, or it's almost like I don't know what's going on because there's so much going on and I'm not sure how it all fits together, but I'm still loving it because I'm hooked and I'm just like, how is this all going to fit together, and what does the overall picture look like, and what is that overall picture going to look like once we've got the rest of the puzzle pieces together. So I'm really enjoying it, but I'm absolutely lost. Like, I genuinely have no theories or anything. I'm just reading, going along for the ride and thinking, what on earth is happening? But in the best way. Maybe I'm just being a bit dumb and not seeing it, but I'll have to let you know once I finish it, because then I'll probably either realise that I was being dumb and it was right in front of me the whole time, or it might end up being very, very clever, which I'm sure it will be, and I think it is already giving clever vibes. But yeah, I might look back and think, oh, that was really cleverly done, because I had no idea that was how it was going to end up. I will just say, on this current page that I am on, the first line made me gasp out loud. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was just kind of this big twist. So I'm excited to read, especially this chapter that I'm on, to find out, you know, more behind that one sentence. It's kind of just thrown everything that I was thinking out the window. The main update is I am really enjoying it, but I have no really coherent thoughts about what's actually happened. I think sometimes I prefer just kind of going along with it and not trying to figure everything out either, or trying to figure everything out but not doing it so intensely that I do figure out, if that makes sense. So I do like trying to think, oh, I wonder, you know, what puzzle pieces fit together, but at the same time, if I'm not figuring it out, it doesn't bother me, because I think it's more fun not knowing and not figuring it out, but also trying to figure it out. I don't know if I'm making sense. I probably sound as confusing to you guys as this book is sounding to me, but not confusing a bad way. I don't think I'm doing a great job of explaining this whatsoever, and I'm probably making it sound really bad, but it's not. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it, and I think there are so many things that just aren't what they seem. Like I was saying in the last clip, it really is a lot of kind of beneath the surface. Things seem a lot more sinister or just very different to what they appear to be. I think that's kind of been a theme throughout the book. I am enjoying that. I will probably have more coherent thoughts once I actually finish it, but I am very excited to see where these last 100 pages go, but I'm just going to sit down and finish the book now. Apparently, according to my Kindle, I only have just over an hour left for these last 100 pages, well, an hour and 19 minutes. That's very much doable, so that's what I'm going to do. I have now finished Death at Morning House, and this had such a satisfying ending. Everything was wrapped up so nicely, and the answers that we got, they were satisfying because not only were they shocking, and I didn't really see them coming, but they made so much sense. And in the previous clip, you know how I was saying it was going to be both ways? I was either going to look dumb or it was just going to be like clever and kind of, you know, I think it was done really cleverly. Looking back now, I can see the seeds with both timelines for the answers to both mysteries, and I think that is so clever, and I love when that happens. I think it's so much fun when you don't see it happening when it's in front of you, but when you finish and you've got the full picture, then you can look back and you're like, I should have guessed that, I should have picked it up. So maybe it was a bit of both, of me being both a bit like dumb because it was right there, but also just it was right there, but it was hidden in a way that you wouldn't know what it was until you had the bigger picture, if that makes sense. So it was just so satisfying to get everything wrapped up and to get all the answers, and like I said, they were just really good answers. I was very happy with that conclusion. I also think we kind of got a nice link between both timelines towards the end and how they kind of connected in the end, which I think brought it all together nicely. Like I think I mentioned previously, the writing in this was so witty, like it was making me chuckle quite a bit, and still that was mainly because of Marlowe's inner monologue. So I think Maureen Johnson has that very witty writing style down to a T, whilst also keeping you on the edge of your seat. I feel like there were multiple intense moments where you were kind of anxious and unsure what to expect, in the sense that there was this big sense of foreboding and you knew something was going to happen, but you weren't sure what or when or quite how. So you're just anxiously waiting for that storm to appear, which is funny because there's actually a storm that takes place in this book. I really do enjoy her writing style, which is why I think I really loved Truly Devious when I first read that years ago. I definitely, especially after reading this, I want to reread that and carry on with the series even more now. I just think this was so fun as well. Like all of the characters were so interesting. As I mentioned before, the kind of cult-like family, that just kept expanding and getting like weirder and weirder, and just more strange things were happening connected to the family. But I think that's what made it so interesting, is that they were genuinely just very strange. And what I liked was also members in the family were also aware of how strange it was, if that makes sense. It's not like they were all brainwashed and all culty, but I just think that added a bit more of a dynamic to that. And I really enjoyed the characters in the present timeline. I think seeing Marlowe kind of infiltrate this kind of friendship group and kind of make her own connections, and how they were all kind of brought together at the end through solving certain mysteries that were happening. I think that was nice, and that was a nice development for all of their characters. Overall, I really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend it. I think I'm gonna settle on a 4-star rating, so that is still really good. I don't really have anything negative to say about this one. It was fun, it was gripping. Some of it I would say is more of a slow burn, like it wasn't the fastest paced thriller mystery that I've ever read, but I think I quite liked the pacing. I think with the two timelines and the way the mysteries were unraveling, the pacing made sense for the book, so I kind of appreciated it that it was more of a medium paced read. A lot of fun, definitely recommend. And now I'm going to talk about the next book that I'm going to read. So I actually think I'm going to read another book on my Kindle. Originally I was thinking I was going to end up reading either An Ember in the Ashes or Cinderella is Dead, which are both on my physical TBR here. I'm kind of leaning more towards reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is on my Kindle. I think that's what I'm going to go for. I just have this feeling that that is what I want to read right now. I'm going to listen to that feeling, and that's the next book we're going to pick up, which is also kind of good timing because the second book in that series, The Map of the Other Lands, was on Kindle 99p daily deals today, so I did get that. So I now own the second one as well. So let's hope I enjoy this first one. I know Rachel Catherine really loves this series, and I tend to have similar tastes to Rachel Catherine, more or less, and she has made me really excited to pick up this series. I don't read many cozy fantasies, but the ones I have read I do quite enjoy. I don't necessarily mind a lower stakes fantasy plot sometimes. I'm thinking I'm going to enjoy it. In my head, this book was giving spring vibes. Apparently it's set in winter. I didn't know that. It's not quite winter yet, but I'm not always a seasonal reader where I match up the seasons anyway, so it's fine. It's still giving cozy vibe. The season's giving cozy vibe, so I think it's still going to work quite well. Yeah, I'm quite excited. I'm not really sure what my expectations are. I'm not thinking it's going to be like a 5-star or anything, but I definitely think it'll be a solid 4-star. That's my expectation. I will let you know my initial thoughts and kind of what the plot is once I've read a bit of it. I am about halfway through Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I'm really enjoying it. In this book we have Emily, and Emily is compiling an Encyclopedia of Fairies, which she has been doing research on for years. She has gone to this kind of isolated, snowy village to find out more about a specific kind of fairies that haven't had much research done on them, and they are called the Hidden Ones. So she's gone to this village just for the research. She's not really interested in making any connections of any kind. However, much to her surprise, she is then joined by one of her academic fellows, Wendell, and I suppose Wendell is kind of an academic rival to her in the sense that he's much more well known with his research and is also a bit more of a scandalous researcher. They do kind of have a friendship, and now that Wendell is here, Emily's plans are changing a bit more. It's a bit harder for her to stick to her original plan, but we're just following her, trying to collect her research with Wendell coming along the way, and it's actually a lot of fun. I have heard people complain that this is a bit slow, and I can definitely see that. However, in my mind, slow isn't always bad. I'm quite enjoying the kind of nice, slow-paced vibes from this book. As this has been described to me as a cozy fantasy, I was kind of surprised to see how dark some elements of it were. By all means, it is not completely dark whatsoever, but there are some more kind of darker tones to certain elements of this plot, which kind of surprised me, but I'm all for. Adds a bit more fun to the plot, I suppose. There is still a plot line to this. It's not completely plot heavy, but I'm still going along with it. I'm still enjoying it. I think the writing is so interesting. I think it does a great job at kind of depicting Emily's inner monologue, as this is her journal and her journal entries. I think it is written in a way that very much makes sense for Emily's character, and I do enjoy that because it really does feel like we are getting into her head. There is also just some general beautiful language in here, like different metaphors and similes, which I think are really nice, and definitely adds kind of the magical fairy feel of the writing, which is always nice with a fantasy like this. To be honest, I don't have that much to say, even though I am halfway through, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because I'm just enjoying it. I'm just here going along for the ride. I haven't been able to read as much as I hoped recently in the past few days, just because I was so busy again this weekend, but from now on I have got my weekends back, so I have more time to read. I'm hoping to sit down and finish the second half of this today. I think it's doable. I'm definitely intrigued to see where we're going with the rest. I feel like I say that about every book, but I feel like that's a good sign when you are intrigued to know what's going to happen next. So I'm going to keep saying it if that's how I feel. The next update will probably just be me with my final thoughts, because I am hoping to finish this today. Might do another little update and we shall see, but for now I'm enjoying it, giving me good vibes. I'm looking forward to finishing it. I've now finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. However, I didn't quite manage to finish it last night, so I did read about 90 pages of it at uni this morning during one of my breaks. And this book was just full of surprises for me. Like I was mentioning in the last clip, I didn't expect certain aspects of it to be as dark as they were, and that just kept happening. But again, as I was saying, I actually think that worked so well, and I really enjoyed kind of the darker elements amongst all the cozy vibes. The cozy vibes were immaculate. I feel like the slightly darker elements really kept the plot going and made it more intriguing. The ending was very, very wild. It kind of felt like a bit of a fever dream, but I kind of really enjoyed those vibes, and I think that kind of epitomizes the fairy idea and the characters of the fairies. So again, I just think that really made it very atmospheric to read and just made complete sense, and I was completely there for it. I also think this book was just full of likable characters. I think Emily as a protagonist was really interesting to kind of get her viewpoint. I really enjoyed how it was kind of journal entries. I think her voice is very unique and distinctive, and I really enjoyed that, and I definitely admire her sense of work ethic and just how passionate she is about the fairies. And I also liked kind of how we developed her character and how she did eventually start letting more people in, still in a very Emily way, so I think she definitely stayed true to her character. I also think Wendell as a character has so much more to him than you would initially expect. There were definitely different dimensions to him and different surprises that I did not expect from him. I also really enjoyed his character. I do think he is very, very charming as well. All the information and knowledge of fairies that we get was all very, very interesting and very captivating. I really enjoyed learning more about them in this specific world, and I think again seeing it through Emily's very passionate eyes made that even more alluring and just enjoyable to read. So obviously overall I did really, really enjoy this, and I am looking forward to continuing the series. I think I'm going to settle on a 4-star for this one. Very, very good, very much enjoyable, and I would definitely recommend it. I'm glad I had this on my 25 books to read in 2025 list, and I'm glad that I did read it. This is just so much more than I expected it to be, because I feel like I've heard some kind of mixed things that kind of made me have slightly lower expectations. As I said, this book was full of surprises. It just kept shocking me with how much I was enjoying it, as well as just general shock from the plot itself. So this was definitely a successful one. Very much enjoyed it. So that marks the end of my reading 25 books to read in 2025 list. I now only have 10 books left on this list, which is manageable. However, with the certain books that I do have left on the list, I'm not 100% sure that I will fully complete it. I'm definitely going to try and read as many as I can before the end of the year. I think we have made good progress this week with these reads, and overall I have enjoyed them. Obviously we started off on a bit of a lower note. I think Death at Morning House and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies definitely made up for that one, so we're definitely finishing the vlog on a higher note. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy, please do leave a like and subscribe if you want want to see more vlogs like this. Also, if you have a 25 books to read in 2025 reading list, please do comment how many books you have read off of that list and maybe what your favourite one was so far. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.